and to the supporting organizations for your work in putting together and hosting this important event on advancing international cooperation on cybercrime and electronic evidence. Thank you all for being here today and sharing your expertise this week. It's great we can have these exchanges in person and also have the hybrid option to expand cooperation of these exchanges. These discussions will enhance our capacity to counter cybercrime together here in the Americas and around the world. As technology advances, it continues to contribute to economic expansion and social progress. The unfortunate flip side is that cybersecurity and cybercrime is an issue that affects all countries at all stages of development, threatening global security, human rights, and sustainable development. Here in the Americas, we face particular vulnerabilities due to the ways in which cybercrime is exploited by criminal organizations. The financial and human cost of cybercrime is considerable, whether involving extortion, intrusion, or denial of access. There is seemingly endless ranges of cyber and cyber-enabled crimes, which pose serious threats to individuals, businesses, and public sector and government authorities alike. To name a few examples, as mentioned by President Arias and the Prosecutor General, the recent Conti ransomware attack here in Costa Rica. Canada continues to face threats from both state and non-state actors alike, including a recent Chinese-sponsored cyber attack to our National Research Council, which resulted in the loss of intellectual property, advanced research, and proprietary business information from the agency's partners. On top of this is the concerning rise in the rate of online child sexual exploitation and abuse, which increased significantly during the pandemic, underlining the priority we must place on protecting children online. The rapidly evolving cybercrime landscape underscores the importance of international cooperation and public awareness, and the pressure on states to constantly adapt investigative methods and update legal frameworks. Canada supports cybercrime capacity building throughout the region. Our goal is to help draw the full benefits of the internet and cyberspace while providing the tools, training, and expertise to effectively counter cybercrime in all forms. Canada's anti-crime capacity building program is one of Canada's main tools in our global efforts to combat cybercrime. The program forms a critical part of our engagement strategy and our vision of states working together to preserve an open and secure, multi-stakeholder-led internet. In support of our vision since 2015, the Anti-Crime Capacity Building Program has committed over $30 million to cyber capacity building projects, primarily in the Americas. Canada is proud of our partnership with organizations such as Interpol, the Organization of American States, and the UN Office on Drugs and Crime to help develop innovative cyber capacity building projects that bring us together to advance technical skills and knowledge. We continue to learn and realize the power of capacity building with strengthened coordination so we can avoid duplication, base it on real needs of stakeholders, and expand opportunities for joint discussions. Broad consultations also remind us of the need to advance human rights, gender equality, and freedom online. We will continue to encourage increased engagement with private sector and civil society organizations as they are key partners in our efforts to develop successful capacity building projects that consider the needs of all people and how capacity building might affect people differently. Canada is also very pleased to see the establishment of a regional hub for the Global Forum on Cyber Expertise here in the Americas. The Global Forum on Cyber Expertise is an essential asset to our capacity building efforts and to tapping into wider networks of experts from diverse backgrounds. This network can help shape our capacity building strategies, recognition of differing impacts on people, and hopefully lead to long-term success and sustainability. Finally, Canada is a firm supporter of the Council of Europe's Convention on Cybercrime, better known as the Budapest Convention. It offers an effective legislative framework, tools for investigation, and international cooperation for fighting cybercrime while respecting human rights and privacy. Its membership has grown far beyond Europe to include nations of Africa, Asia, Oceania, and the Americas. Canada is very pleased that Costa Rica, as well as its close neighbors, Panama and the Dominican Republic, are full partners in the Budapest Convention, as are a growing number of South American countries, namely Colombia, Peru, Chile, Paraguay, and Argentina. Several other Latin American and Caribbean countries, including Mexico, Brazil, Ecuador, Guatemala, and Trinidad and Tobago, have been invited to accede to the convention. We look forward to their joining this community, which will only strengthen our efforts against cybercrime in the region. Thank you for including us in this important regional conference and forum. We hope everyone benefits from the relationships made during the coming days and strengthen networks for resources and questions. While there is still a great deal of work to be done to establish an open, free, and secure cyberspace in the Americas, by leveraging our shared knowledge and expertise and working together to advance national, regional, and international cooperation, we each can better address cybercrime concerns in our countries, the region, and the broader international community. I wish you all the best in the days to come. Y pura vida. Gracias.
Thank you. Canada has indeed been an extremely active party to the Budapest Convention for a number of years, and also in the negotiation of the new second additional protocol that we will discuss in some detail in our forum here. And also Canada has been contributing to capacity building. It made a voluntary contribution. So there's still a lot of things we can do also in the future. We look forward to that. We now continue with another organization that has been a major partner for many years in this region, in the Americas, namely the Organization of American States. And we give the floor to Rodrigo Silva from the OAS. Please.
Good morning. Muy buenos días. In the name of the General Secretariat of the OAS, I would like to first say it is an honor to share this opening session of the conference with the distinguished representatives from Costa Rica, the President of the Legislative Assembly, and the General Prosecutor, with the Ambassador of Canada as well as the representatives from the European Union, Interpol, and of course the Council of Europe, as well as all of you who are present. We'd also like to thank the government of Costa Rica for hosting this conference, as well as our organizers, especially the Council of Europe, for taking this initiative and bringing it all together. We'd also like to thank the distinguished experts who will be participating in presiding over the events of the next 3 days, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience on cybercrime and its different elements. As we're all very aware, cybercrime brings very unique challenges, with no country exempt from its impact, both in the public and private sectors, and of course, to the general public. First, these types of crimes, in many cases, as we all know, are transnational in character. Borders are of no importance. In many cases, the material or intellectual perpetrators of these crimes are not found in the country where a crime is committed. Second, it can be very complex, as the perpetrators use increasingly sophisticated ways to use technological advances to carry out their criminal purposes, as demonstrated in the surge, as we've seen in cybercrime, during the pandemic, especially with respect to the use, for example, of ransomware. Recognizing the unique challenges posed by cybercrime in the framework of the OAS, in the second meeting of what is known as the Meetings of Ministers of Justices and Attorney Generals of the Americas, or known as by REMJA, in 1999, the delegations present recommended a working group be created on the issue, noting in their discussions that these types of crimes know no boundaries and are a threat to both not just law, but also privacy. It is within this working group, made up of government experts, that has served as the focal point for tackling cybercrime in the OAS context, promoting hemispheric cooperation and making recommendations to point to areas where further progress is needed in order to strengthen such cooperation. In this regard, the working group has met periodically since then, with its 10th meeting held in April of this year, and in which the Council of Europe also was present and participated. And the recommendations from the working group touched on aspects such as recommending updating or adopting legislation to criminalize as an offense the different forms of cybercrime. The country should consider establishing specific units for investigating and prosecuting. The country should adopt procedural measures and legislation to ensure the collection and safe custody of all forms of electronic evidence. That states consider acceding to the Budapest Convention and adopt the legal and other measures required for its implementation. And in that respect also, that information exchange and cooperation continue to be strengthened between the REMJA and the working group and other agencies such as the Council of Europe. Importantly, and something that will be further discussed and expanded upon during this conference, it also provided for the continuation of the what is known as the OAS REMJA cybercrime training program that has been carried out continuously for over 18 years under the leadership and collaboration with the chair of the working group, the Department of Justice of the United States, where to date, more than 53 workshops, both in person and virtually, have been carried out, reaching approximately 2,800 participants, primarily prosecutors and judges in the Americas, introducing them to topics such as the importance of preservation of digital evidence, new trends in cybercrimes and their modalities, such as ransomware, the use of cryptocurrencies, and to the tools and methods available for investigating such a crime, as well as noting the importance of the Budapest Convention and the benefits of acceding, among other things. I would also like to note the Inter-American Portal for Cooperation in Cybercrime, a webpage through which it is possible to access the legislation of our countries in a systematized manner, as well as the recommendations of the working group, information on training workshops, and something we call the State of the Americas, where we break down the results of a cybercrime questionnaire we send out periodically to countries, the last one being earlier this year, divided in topics such as legislation, international cooperation, specialized units, and challenges. Finally, I'd also like to highlight the efforts undertaken within the OAS, not only on the issue of cybercrime, but also on strengthening the cybersecurity capacity of its member states through technical assistance and training policy roundtables, crisis management exercises, and exchange of best practices related to the information and communication technologies. In this framework, through the Inter-American Committee Against Terrorism, known as CICTE, its cybersecurity program for over 15 years has provided assistance to OAS member states to build technical and policy-level cybersecurity capacities. Its initiatives and activities aim to ensure an open, secure, and resilient cyberspace throughout the Western Hemisphere, focusing on three fundamental pillars: support for the development of policies, regulatory frameworks, and cybersecurity strategies, strengthen the technical capabilities of the computer incident response teams, and the developments of initiatives to promote public awareness and knowledge on cybersecurity issues. To that end, CICTE has provided technical assistance to many OAS member states, including Costa Rica, to update their national cybersecurity strategies and in the preparation of a risk assessment report that will improve national capacities to prevent, address, and recover from cyber attacks in a country. More recently, CICTE has also coordinated the OAS fourth meeting of the Working Group on Cooperation and Confidence Building Measures in Cyberspace, which discussed, among other things, new and agreed upon measures regarding responsible behavior of states in cyberspace and initiatives that will strengthen regional policies, cooperation, transparency, predictability, and stability in cyberspace. In addition, just recently, to address the gender gap in cybersecurity, CICTIS also launched on November 2nd of last week a new project that aims to incorporate the gender perspective and inclusion in cybersecurity policies. I believe actually this project has been supported by the Government of Canada as well. Finally, through the CSIRT Americas network, CICTA continues to support OAS member states to create, promote, and strengthen computer security incident response teams in the region. Currently, 40 such CSIRTs from 20 countries are part of this network. These initiatives are a demonstration of the many actions undertaken by the OAS to address cybercrime and cybersecurity, providing assistance to countries that they can be better deal with them in a timely and effective manner, of which the exchange of experiences and information is key. For this reason, we are pleased to participate in this conference, which will provide an opportunity in this respect. I wish you all a successful and fruitful 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you. And indeed, the OAS and the REMCA working group has been essential in encouraging countries of the Americas to join the Budapest Convention. There's a reason why there are more countries from the Americas that are parties than from, let's say, some other regions of the world. So thank you once again. We continue with another very important partner of Council of Europe, but of all of you when it comes to crime. You just have to turn on some crime series on the TV, and you find Interpol is solving all the crime problems around the world. And it's a great pleasure to have now Jacqueline de Lange, who is Assistant Director of the Cybercrime Directorate at Interpol in Singapore. And she has come a very, very long way to join us here. Please, Jacqueline.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very warm welcome to each one of you today. I feel very honored and privileged to be here today to represent Interpol at the Americas Regional Forum on International Cooperation on Cybercrime and Electronic Evidence. It's great to be here in Costa Rica to meet our valued regional partners and member countries. This is an important part of building closer partnerships and enhancing trust. A warm thank you to the European Union, the Council of Europe, and the Public Ministry of Costa Rica for hosting us in Costa Rica for the Americas Regional Forum on International Cooperation for the following next 3 days. There certainly has not been less to do over the last couple of years when it comes to preventing and countering cybercrime. A recent Interpol assessment underlined the pandemic has opened up new avenues for cybercriminals to carry out various forms of online crime, regardless of the region. There's been a huge growth in the scale and impact of cyber threats as criminals and fraudsters exploit fundamental social needs and anxieties in cyberspace. Some continuing threats we are seeing include the increased availability of ransomware as a service, business model making attribution difficult, cryptocurrency becoming ever more central to cybercrime, and continued vulnerabilities arising, increasing the use of cloud services and smart connected devices. According to our newly published Interpol Crime Trend Report, among the top 10 crime trends most frequently perceived to represent a high or very high threat by member countries in this region were ransomware, phishing, online scams, and computer intrusions. Ransomware was also the crime trend that most countries in the region expect to increase or increase significantly in the future. Available information also suggests that the production of online child sexual exploitation material targeting children from the region is on the rise, particularly in response to demand for these materials outside the region. Due to shifts in online behavior during the pandemic, as mentioned, both the demand for and the production of online child sexual exploitation materials have very likely escalated, particularly in the North American sub-region, involving offenders and victims in other parts of the world. Available information also suggests an increase in reported trading of child sexual abuse material using online payments involving South American imagery suppliers. Interpol's Global Cybercrime Program and the Interpol Global Cybercrime Strategy for 2022-2025 has the mandate of reducing the global impact of cybercrime and protecting communities for a safer world. It focuses on delivering policing capabilities in the prevention, detection, investigation, and disruption of cybercrime to our 195 member countries. Our strategy has 4 main objectives, focusing on prevention and disruption and developing an in-depth understanding of the cybercrime threat landscape through information sharing and intelligence analysis. Also, we are focusing on leading, coordinating, and supporting our 195 member countries in transnational operational activities. We're also supporting the development of strategies and capabilities of member countries and cultivating partnerships and engaging with international forums in the field of cybercrime. As part of the Global Cybercrime Program, Interpol has adopted a regional approach to coordinating operations against cybercrime because this allows for more tailored support to our member countries that all has unique developments. By doing so, we draw on already existing cooperation between law enforcement agencies in different countries in the region and is in the process of also establishing a newly Americas Cybercrime Operation Desk. With Interpol as a global actor that can connect police all over the world, our neutral platform, together with our tools, our systems, and databases, enables us to support our regions in a very unique way. To be effective in our fight against cybercrime, we need to understand the threat and how it affects our communities. Having good crime statistics is important in this regard. With relevant information and intelligence, we can also better understand the interplay between enablers of cybercrime and cyber threat actors. For this to happen, the sharing of information is key. And to share information, we need to build trust. This trust element is crucial to optimize partnerships and collaboration. In the case of cybercrime, trust and partnerships is necessary not only between law enforcement organizations themselves, but also with civil society and the private sector, which holds a lot of the information necessary to be able to investigate cybercrime in the first place. Trusted partnerships are the only way we stand a chance against cybercriminals, who are more resourceful and exploitative than ever before. In addition to our member countries, Interpol has also formalized partnerships with the private sector through our Gateway Project framework, allowing for information exchange with these trusted partners. Interpol now has signed cooperation agreements with 13 private partners, allowing for information and intelligence to support cyber threat response and operational planning and targeting of the execution of operations. They also provide support for capacity training for all our 195 member countries. Understanding the threat, having the right intelligence through trusted partnerships leading to actionable intelligence, and carrying out joint operations based on that intelligence allows us to reach outcomes that each of us alone could not have achieved. We are stronger together. So let us continue on this path of increasing trust and information sharing, strengthening our partnerships, and achieving successful outcomes together. This America's Regional Forum will be an opportunity to assess the progress achieved in the region and to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and practical experience on current threats and investigation tools, for us to contribute to sharing experiences among each one of us about new cybercrime trends and ways to tackle cybercrime at a regional and international level. We also need to promote the signature and future ratification of the second additional protocol and offering further insights on capacity building needs in relation to the future implementation of the provisions of the protocol. Very important, facilitating international cooperation between criminal justice authorities of countries in this region, building cyber capacity, and promoting the embracing of international standards in the field. I just want to lastly close and to say to you, Interpol stands ready to work with you and to support our partnership in strengthening international cooperation in the fight against cybercrime. Thank you very much.
So thank you to all the distinguished speakers so far, and also some comments on my side. First of all, pura vida. It's great to be back in Costa Rica. Earlier this morning, I expressed my admiration for this country here. Why? Costa Rica has been a democracy for over 70 years, with well-established democratic institutions, a high level of trust in the judicial system, full exercise of fundamental rights and freedoms. And Costa Rica has also one of the highest scores when it comes to internet freedoms in the world. Costa Rica abolished its army in 1948 and decided to invest in health and education instead. And Costa Rica is one of the most ecological countries in the world. Although from the traffic jam this morning, never mind. I'm sure it was all electrical cars. And almost all of the energy output comes from renewable energy resources here in Costa Rica. And Costa Rica has been topping the so-called Happy Planet Index, which I think is also important. And Costa Rica has been brokering peace in Central America. Other parts of the world are less fortunate. In Europe, we have a senseless war of aggression by the Russian regime against Ukraine in violation of international law, with murder, torture, rape, and other atrocities against civilians, and attacks against civilian infrastructure, apparently a matter of strategy. This is why Russia was excluded from the Council of Europe earlier this year. The impact of that aggression is global. It's leading to food shortages, energy crisis, economic crisis, and other problems in many parts of the world. And instead of investments in education, in health, in the prevention of future pandemics, in development cooperation, and instead of focusing on climate change, governments are forced to focus on a medieval war fought with 21st century weapons. And governments are forced to invest billions and billions of euros or dollars in arms and national defense. And why is the Russian aggression relevant also for our forum here? This war has been preceded and is accompanied by massive cyber attacks and other forms of cybercrime committed by state actors and non-state actors at the service of the regime. And we also realize that evidence of war crime is often electronic evidence. And the world risks to be further polarized. It's increasingly difficult to reach international agreement on how to cooperate with each other. And in order to counter this, we need to demonstrate whenever and wherever we can that international cooperation is possible, including on cybercrime. And this is what we do in our forum here in Costa Rica, to demonstrate that international cooperation is needed and actually feasible. So my message in short here is to cooperate at all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing the growing challenges of cybercrime and e-evidence has been a complicated task for many years. Year after year, cybercrime kept increasing, posing serious threats to the rights and interests of individuals, businesses, governments, and economies, to human rights, rule of law, and democracy. And every year, there are more users and devices and more reliance of societies on technology. And it has become more and more complex to obtain electronic evidence needed in criminal proceedings. However, I would posit that the challenges right now are greater than ever. Because when COVID-19 began to hit in early 2020, it accelerated the transformation of the information society, towards the information society, and with it the reliance on information technologies. And with that also the threat of cybercrime. Cybercrime has increased considerably in the course of the pandemic, while the criminal justice response was hampered by COVID-related restrictions. And because of the increasing impact of ransomware attacks. Costa Rica was under attack earlier this year, as has been explained already, and had to declare a national emergency. We have also seen attacks in many other parts of the world. Albania and Montenegro are recent examples from Europe. And the challenges, all of these challenges, are particularly serious because of the current volatile and violent international context. So my message, yes, the challenges are very serious, but there's a simple prescription to overcome these. Do cooperate at all levels. A stable framework for international cooperation on cybercrime for over 20 years has been and is the Convention on Cybercrime that was opened in Budapest in November 2001. That treaty now has 67 parties and another 16 countries that have signed it or been invited to accede. We are particularly pleased that the Budapest Convention has been an attractive option for countries of the Americas. And the ambassador already listed all the countries, but I'm so happy to list them again. So there are 10 countries from the Americas that are parties to the convention: Argentina, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, and United States of America. And another 5 countries of the Americas have been invited to accede: Brazil, Ecuador, Guatemala, Mexico, and Trinidad and Tobago. And we hope that other countries from the Americas will follow their example and join the convention. If you have any questions on how to do that, please make use of this week. We are here. We can answer all of the questions you need to be answered in order to join the treaty as soon as you can. So my message is in this respect: if the prescription to address cybercrime is to cooperate, the convention provides you with a framework. Become a party to this treaty. It will only bring you benefits. We have not found any disadvantages in joining this convention. A few words on capacity building sites that have also been underlined earlier. We do have a number of capacity buildings in place to support countries in the implementation of the convention. In 2014, just over 8 years ago, we established a cybercrime program office in Bucharest, Romania. From there, we support some 400 activities per year in all regions of the world. And our forum today and the conference on women in cyber later this week are two of these activities that we do every year. And in this connection, also a great thank to all of my colleagues from the Cybercrime Program Office, from my staff from Bucharest and Strasbourg that are here today that helped organize this event. Our capacity building programs rely on voluntary contributions And here again, a major thanks to European Union, the United States, Canada, Japan for their support, for their voluntary contributions in recent years. Even more resources will be needed in the future, given that more and more countries are interested in joining the framework of the Convention on Cybercrime. So my message on capacity building, it works and makes a difference. We have the evidence of that. Seek accession to the Convention on Cybercrime so that we can assist you. Ladies and gentlemen, while we made very good progress on international cooperation on cybercrime and e-evidence in recent years, also due to frameworks like the Budapest Convention and capacity building programs, the challenges keep increasing. This is why the parties to the Convention, after years of preparatory work, decided in 2017 to embark on the preparation of a new additional protocol to the Budapest Convention. That protocol was opened for signature a few months ago, in May 2022. It is a protocol about enhanced cooperation and disclosure of electronic evidence to help you to, in a more effective and a more efficient way, to obtain evidence through cross-border cooperation. We will talk more about this protocol in the session after the break, in the keynote by Christina Schulman, who is the chair of the Cybercrime Convention Committee, and this afternoon in Workshop 1. This new protocol will bring major gains to the efficiency of cross-border cooperation. And together with the provisions of the Convention, this protocol will provide additional tools to effectively investigate and prosecute ransomware attacks. With this protocol, the Convention is and will be more relevant than ever. Any party to the Convention can sign and ratify this treaty. Several countries of the Americas have signed it already: Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, and the United States. And at the end of this month, when we have the plenary of the Cybercrime Convention Committee, it seems that another number of countries, an additional number of countries will sign this protocol. It will provide an opportunity for signatures. So if you have any urgent desire to sign the protocol on the 30th of November, in a few weeks, let me know. I can tell you what to do, okay? And our capacity building programs are obviously also available to support countries in the implementation of the protocol, including in the reform of domestic legislation. That's why we also look very much forward to cooperate with Costa Rica on that. So my message here is sign, implement, and ratify this protocol as soon as possible. Dear all, our counterparts here in Costa Rica have invested great efforts to make this forum happen. Thank you. My colleagues from the Council of Europe in Strasbourg and Bucharest have worked very hard to bring you all here. You all have made great efforts to come here, and some of you from faraway places. The reason that you're all here is cause for optimism. So let's make the best of this event. Please engage actively in the different sessions. Make use of the opportunities to connect with other participants and to share experience and ask questions. Let us demonstrate this week that we do cooperate in the common interest. That is to permit individuals and societies to enjoy the benefits of a free, open, and global internet that is also sufficiently secure and where the rights of individuals are protected. Thank you. I still have a few words. Before we conclude this opening session, I would like to hand over a small symbol of recognition to the representatives of Costa Rica. They're coming. The symbols are coming. Thank you very much for your leadership. Without parliaments, we cannot do anything. If there's no law, nothing can be enforced. So thank you for everything.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Dear Prosecutor General, also very much, thank you very much. Without your colleagues and your leadership, we would not be here. Thank you. Okay, so in order to permit you all to network, because that's the task, to cooperate and to network with each other, we will do this in the coffee break. But just keep in mind that we will start in this meeting room closer to that end, in the hall where the coffee break is served. Towards that end, we will all assemble for a family picture or wedding photo, whatever you would like to call it. Thank you, and that concludes the opening session. Thank you. But please, everyone, wedding picture. Photo, photo, photo.
You already catch up with the morning.
Probando, 1, 2, 3. Probando. Muy buenos días. Bueno, ellos hablan aquí, ¿verdad? Probando, 1, 2, 3. Muy buenas tardes, muy buenos días. Bienvenidos el día de hoy. Esta es una prueba de sonido. Muy buenos días. Probando, 1, 2, 3. Muy buenos días. Probando. Muy buenos días. Así. Probando. Probando, buenos. Aló, probando. Listo. Aló, buenas. Aló, buenas. Probando, buenos días. 1, 2, 3. Probando. Muy buenos días. Probando. Probando, buenos días. 1, 2, 3. Muy buenos días. Una prueba de sonido. Solamente una prueba de sonido. Muy buenos días. 2, 3. Buenos días, caballero. ¿Cómo se encuentra el día de hoy? Me imaginé. Yo estaba esperando el momento para hacerle. Bueno. Ajá. A despertarse. Probando, buenos días. Probando, buenos días. Probando. Aló, 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 aló. Sí. Yoxan, ese parlante está sonando. El Fronfi. Muy buenos días. Buenos días. No creo que ahí sirva mucho ese Fronfi, porque le da las pantallas y el rebota desde el techo. Probando, buenos días. Solamente pegándole a la cámara nos vamos a dar cuenta. Aló, hola, buenos días. Ese sí. Muy buenos días, probando. Buenos días. American Region. Mejor no sigo en inglés. Buenos días, probando. Aló, aló, buenos días. Muy buenos días. Una prueba de sonido. Eso no está saliendo afuera, sí. Ah, pues son. Muy buenos días, probando. Muy buenos días, probando. Muy buenos días, probando. Muy buenos días, muy buenos días, muy buenos días. Bienvenidos. 1, 2, 3, probando. 1, 2, 3, muy buenos días. Hola, hola, probando. 1, 2, 3. Hola, buenas. Aquí donde está él casi a... Aló, hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo está? ¿Todo bien? Muy buenos días. Ups, está view. Está view. Hola, buenos días. Buenos días. Buenos días, perfecto.